Welcome to Push with Love. Today we have Sam Ritchie. Sam, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about clearing space.
Hi, I'm Sam Ritchie, and I've always been able to see spirits and things that not everyone can see. In fact, as a child, I was terrified of people. I used to hide when the doorbell rang. I was much happier living in the alternate universe that I lived in. Um, until I was about 12, I think, and I don't quite know what happened, but I made a decision that I was not going to spend this lifetime living like that. So I'd started pushing myself outside my comfort zone, and I haven't stopped ever since.
Mm.
um, and space clearing happened by accident, really. I was always fascinated by buildings and the history of buildings, and especially derelict buildings. I always had a real obsession whenever we drive past, staring in, seeing what I could see, which led me, not, I'm sure not by accident, to become a state agent in London for a number of years, where unbeknown to me, I was clearing the space as I was going. And I was always able to sell the properties that no one else could. And I didn't know why, I didn't know what I was doing. If I saw a spirit, I asked that it got sent to the light. It was totally natural for me and didn't think anything about it at all. And then roll on a few years, and I got married. I had two kids. We moved house, and I knew there was no spirits in the house, but the energy of the house was off. It just wasn't a comfortable place to be. Um, the fact that one of the bedrooms, including the ceiling, was painted black wasn't helping. Obviously, we changed that quite quick. Um, but I was like, I don't know what's going on with this house. And then I met someone, a friend of a friend, and she said, "Oh, you want to space clear your house?" It's like, what's space clearing? This was before Google was a thing. I couldn't just put in what is space clearing and find out all the answers. So she told me, go around my house, clapping, using incense, and with your intention, clear the energy of the house. So that's what I did. And as I did that, I got all of the history of the house, which in this instance wasn't particularly pleasant, but the whole energy changed. It was much better place for to be in. In fact, we lived there for quite a few years after that. Um, and then, so every place that we've lived, and we've lived in a lot of places, I've space cleared. And if a friend or a family member said that they've got a problem, or they've got a strange smell, things moving that they didn't understand, or it just didn't feel right in their house, then I would go and space clear for fun. And so that's what I was doing until lockdown happened. And at that time, I was working in a kitchen in a bar, and lockdown happened, and all the bars shut. So I had no work. My kids were older. So I was like, okay, I'm going to use this opportunity to learn more about my spirituality and my spiritual side. So I started studying with Kyle Gray, and in fact, I'm still mentioned as one of his practitioners on his website. And I learned how to read oracle cards. And because I wasn't sure about my abilities, I guess, I did a lot for free, hundreds for free. Also, people really needed them at that time. They needed that guidance, the support that oracle cards can offer. So then people started wanting to pay me, and I was like, oh, I could actually feed us as well with this. I could do something I love and feed my family. How cool is that? So I set up a website, and I put space clearing on there, thinking that it would be a small part of what I do, because I live in rural Spain. So you've got to be somewhere I can get to from here. You've got to have, either be spiritually minded or have a problem that you want to solve. Otherwise, you wouldn't come to someone like me. I was wrong. So what happened then was a friend of mine contacted me from the UK, and I'd space cleared their holiday home, probably 10 years before, forgotten I'd done it. And she said, Sam, look, I've got this property. It was my grandparents' house. It's got tenants in it and it needs essential maintenance. If this maintenance doesn't get done, the chances are the property's going to fall down. So it's like, okay, that's quite important then. And she's like, can you do it from a floor plan and an address? She said, I can't even take you around with my phone because they won't let me in. And I was like, I have no clue, but I'll give it a go. So I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I have no clue how I'm going to do this. I'm just going to trust whatever comes in to how I'm going to do it. That's what I'll do. And that's what I did. So I started drawing the plans. And as I did so, all this information, including her grandparents' names, dropped in. I was like, okay, well, I can get the information, but was I going to get the results? I didn't know. Well, within 24 hours, and it wasn't even 24 hours, the tenants had let her in and the work was scheduled. It was like, okay, I can do this then.
Mm.
So that has opened up the whole world, right? And now I've space cleared so far in 7 different countries, mainly from my office. So that's pretty cool. And the stories, the history from the different countries is so interesting because it's so different as well. Because the UK, you get lots of like workhousey type things coming up, and lots of that type of energy. And in Spain, it's lots of church related stuff, and the Spanish Inquisition and Franco and all of that sort of history comes up a lot, and lots of priests that weren't men of God. Um, and then Eastern Europe, you get lots of, not Eastern Europe, yeah, Eastern Europe, where countries were occupied, you get all of that Second World War energy. And then I've done a couple in the States, and you get all this cowboy and Indian energy. It's really interesting how different countries have different energies about them when you're clearing the properties.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so that changed everything. So I then wrote a book about the stories, the things that I'd seen as I'd space cleared. And I'm on a bit of a mission to get space clearing more known about. And also, I believe anyone can do this and should be doing it. The only times you shouldn't is if you've got a severe mental illness or if you're scared, because if you're scared, you're going to attract more things to be scared of. So if you think back to a time when you've walked into a building and you felt totally at home, or you've walked into a building and you felt really uncomfortable. Now, the one you felt totally at home could have been filthy dirty, and there's no reason, you just feel at home. And the one that you don't feel at home could be the most beautiful building, but it just doesn't feel right. We've all had those. You don't need to be spiritually minded to relate to that. What's happening is you're picking up the energy. So we all are leaving parts of our energy behind. So when people have an argument and we go in the room, we even say you could cut the atmosphere with a knife. Right? So we're all picking up these unconscious energies all of the time. What we want to do is to get rid of the negative and enhance the positive. So it's the beautiful things that we're sitting in the energy of, the Christmas parties, the families having fun, the love, rather than the arguments and the negative and whatever other historic negative energy is lingering. We don't want to be sat in that. And I believe that by changing the energy of our homes, we are helping to change the vibration of the planet. So I believe that by changing our environments in a small way, we have a knock-on effect. Not only does it make us feel better, but then we have a more positive effects on the people that we're in contact with. And then there's a ripple effect and it changes the world. So this is my mission, to change the world one property at a time. But I can't do that on my own. So I want everyone to be out there space clearing. And a really good way to start is just by clapping. And once you, first of all, protect your energy. If you've already got a practice where you protect your energy, do that. If you haven't got a clue what to do, then on my website and my YouTube channel, there's a free protect your energy meditation. Do that and start making it a habit. Because even if you're not space clearing your house, if you protect your energy every day, it stops um, other people's negative energy getting stuck to you, right? It makes you nice and sparkly clean. Um, and we don't want to carry around other people's stuff. We have enough of our own stuff. We don't want other people's rubbish. So, um, make it a habit. I do it in the shower. I love to do it in the shower because it's a habit then. It just becomes a habit. We all have a shower. You put on your protection and you're ready for your day. Then you set the intention to clear the energy of your place, whether it's your workplace, your home, wherever. And then start by clapping, and you'll be able to hear the change in the tone. It will go from being quite a blunt sound to being a really sharp sound, and you can actually hear that. So go and try that. And then just you can use Palo Santo, sage, or just incense, whatever, because the smoke really helps to clear the energy. And the places where you can't reach, so like the corners of a building, the with the ceiling and the wall, we can't physically get there. So we use our intention to get there, because also that's where negative energy can get really stuck. So it's really important to throw our intention there, that the clapping, the smoke is changing the energy. And lighting candles is a good way as well, um, just to bring everything down. I use bells, tuning forks, and a singing bowl, but none of that. If you're just doing it for yourself, if you've got that stuff, yeah, do it. If you haven't, don't worry. But if you're scared that you might see stuff, because you might not, but you might, don't do it. If you're scared that you might see stuff you don't want to see, then don't do it. Find someone that isn't scared.
Well, that answered a lot of my questions already, so thank you for that.
That's all right.
The one thing that I kept thinking about was the intention that we have to place in our mind before we even start something like that. Uh, because, like you said, you can't be afraid, because you're just going to attract more things to be afraid about.
Yeah.
Uh, so, what do you think about, or what mindset do you kind of try to get into prior to starting, so that kind of breaks down almost like the prep work for somebody that wants to try?
Yeah. So the protection is the first thing I do, and I do that multiple times a day. I've been space clearing this morning, so before I left the house, that was done. Then I tune in to the angels and my guides, and then when I start, I thank them for what information I'm about to receive. Thank, I just say thank you for showing me what I need to know about this property. And then if I wasn't doing it for a client, then I might not ask that, because I'm doing it for a client. I want to give them as much information as possible. If I was doing it for myself and I didn't necessarily need to know or wasn't interested to know, then I would just say, thank you for helping me clear the energy of this property. Then you still may or may not get get information come. But if you're not particularly interested in seeing anything or hearing anything or just knowing stuff, then just say thank you, angels, guides, and you don't have to believe in them. They don't care. They're still there to help you, right? So it really doesn't matter if you believe in them or not. They just want to help. And then, yeah, so the intention is to enhance the positive and get rid of the negative. So that's what we're doing. And it is all about intention.
Yeah, I agree. So you have to get yourself in that mindset first of being thankful or having gratitude, getting into a positive vibration before you can even start clearing and
Yeah.
making a positive environment.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, I can picture that. I feel like a lot of times people approach this idea as if it is taboo, but it it makes sense when you see the effects and then you start to believe. If you're able to see the before and after, um, it's almost a proof is in the pudding type thing.
Yeah,
When
exactly. And so quite often, a property becomes physically lighter.
yeah,
So you can see a physical change as well. Suddenly, it's like someone's turned the lights on. It's really quite strange. But there is, and people notice, they go, "What have you done? It's so much brighter in here." It's like, "Oh, okay. You had Sam round, did you?" So it is, it can be a very physical difference as well. Not only that, people's businesses start to thrive, houses that have been stuck on the market sell, um, properties that tenants were being a bit of a problem, issues resolve, all manner of things. I had one lady even lost weight. Now, that's only happened once. I'm not saying this is a new weight loss scheme, but it has. The house was particularly bad and was physically weighing her down.
yeah, yeah, having an impact on her mental health,
Yeah, on
which
on
is
everything. She
yeah,
was struggling with everything.
yeah, which is pretty common when the environment affects your mental health, and it
Yeah,
can change everything if you just clear the
yeah.
space. So for people that are, I would say, uh, almost almost scared of this concept of clearing space or just addressing the negative energy that is in the environment that's kind of trapped. Uh, what kind of response could you give to them to kind of alleviate some fear around the subject?
Yeah, if you're scared, call in Archangel Michael. Again, he doesn't care if you believe in him or not. And just ask him to make you feel safe. Just say, "Thank you, Archangel Michael, for helping me feel safe." And he will help you feel safe. And don't just, if you're worried about it, find someone who isn't worried about it to do it. Um, because yeah, you just don't, if there is something lingering, a spirit wise, if it's a negative memory held in a wall, so it's like a piece of clay, right? Or like our minds, with the, it's always the negative stuff that comes back to our minds, right? More easily than the positive. It's always the negatives more easy than the positive. And the wall is like a piece of clay, and so it's the biggest handprint. So the bigger the memory, which we've just discussed is normally the negative memory, that's going to stay in the wall. That isn't going to cause you a major problem, even if you're scared. Although if you see stuff that you don't want to see, then you know, but it isn't going to hurt you. It's just a memory. It's if there's a spirit that's trapped there that isn't of the kind version, because there's spirits that can be trapped, because they were angry in life and they don't want to give up control, or they died suddenly and they don't know they're dead. Normally they're not too much of a problem. And then you've got your loved ones that just pop in to say hi. Well, we want them to come back, right, and say hi and to remind us we're loved. That's when we get a smell of someone's perfume. For me, it's my mum's jewelry box. When I've not went all the time, but when I open it often, I smell her perfume. Now, the jewelry box is moved from the UK to here, and my mum's been dead for 18 years. There's no way it's still physically there. Right? But when I get a whiff of her perfume, it's like, okay, thanks, mum. Thanks for showing me you're here. So we want people like that to pop in, right? So it's the negative stuff. If you think you've got a negative spirit in your property, then don't do it if you're worried about it. If you're scared, don't do it.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And I agree. I feel like when uh, a memory kind of imprints itself in a house or in anywhere really, because of really big negative energy, it's almost like when you smoke uh, cigarettes or anything really a lot, it kind of stains the walls um,
Yeah,
over time, and it's kind of the same way with negative energy. When you have a lot of negative energy inside of a home or anywhere really, it kind of stains the walls with negative energy and can have an impact on everybody because it doesn't go away.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Well, I appreciate all this information. It's been very enlightening because I'm very new to this subject, but I can feel that there's a lot of weight to it because there's almost like you said, there's a before and after to
Yeah,
when you get done clearing something. You can feel the energy is lighter.
yeah, and it can be objects as well. I have space cleared beds and all sorts of things, cars, fans.
Yeah, yeah, they get detached,
Yeah,
which is that's been a common thing too in media or in stories is people's possessions getting kind of attached, energies.
yeah.
So it doesn't really stop with just a home; it goes anywhere.
Yeah, but if you space clear your home, you're space clearing the objects in it.
Yeah,
But if you do get information, don't be surprised if you get information from the objects as well. Um, I did a hotel and they've got all antique furniture, and there was a wonderful four-poster bed. But oh, that was busy. It was so busy with the history of the fact previous owner who really wished he was Henry VIII, but he wasn't. And he had that whole thing going on. And then there was a chest of drawers in another room, which they showed me with the babies being put in the bottom drawer, which was really lovely. So there is, it's not all negative. You can see a lot of really positive things as well.
yeah, which is nice. It's nice when you
Yes.
get the nice
Yeah,
positive stuff. It's like a luck charm, good luck charm.
it is. Sometimes I linger there.
Mm.
I'm just gonna stay here. This is so lovely.
Right, like a warm blanket.
Yeah, yeah. I was
Mm.
a family member is moving, and just before she put her house on the market, I was like, "I was supposed clearing your house. I knew it'd be fine, but I was like, you know what? This energy is just lovely. I'm just going to stay here."
Well, thank you again for your time and all the information that you shared with us. If there's a way to get a hold of you, or the website or anything like that, please go ahead and share.
Yeah. So my book, Echoes Within Walls, is available on from all bookstores worldwide and all digital platforms. And you can find me at samangelguide.com or Facebook, Sam Angel Guide, or Instagram, Sam Angel Guide, or YouTube, Sam Angel Guide. I kept it easy. That's so I remember.
Yeah, that makes it easy on everybody, really.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again. I appreciate your time and all the information that you shared with us on space clearing. I think it's a very important subject to kind of get out there. So,
Thank you.
I love the work that you do.
Thank you.
This has been Push with Love. Please remember to like and subscribe. Until next time.